Hi, this is Lakshmi Shri. Going to present to you the Qlikview 11.2 SR7 training. So about me, I have about 9 years of IT and software development experience. I have very good hands-on with data analytics, data reporting, and data visualization. I've extensively worked on data analytics and data reporting tools, and I've taken up quite a few corporate trainings, in-house trainings, and external trainings for various students and working professionals from varied countries, particularly from the US and the UK region. So I have worked on Qlikview, Tableau, MSBI, SSRS, AS, and other business analytics and business intelligence tools and technology. So Qlikview 11.2 is one of the business intelligence technologies or the application suite that which is being used in the industry to develop ad hoc and quick applications or reports to serve different levels of management and the business user groups. Okay, to start with, we'll look into an introduction to Qlikview. What is Qlikview and how Qlikview differs from other traditional business intelligence tools, and more about Qlikview architecture, and we will get into how the Qlikview screen looks, the starting screen, how it looks, and some basic idea about Qlikview and a short Qlikview demo as well. To start with, Qlik is a company that has created the Qlikview application. So Qlikview is getting popular from past 2 to 3 years. Prior to it, there were different versions of Qlikview starting from 7, 8, 9, 10, and now we are at version 11, 11.2. So what makes Qlikview so unique is the patented AQL technology that allows faster querying and easier methods of creating the user interface and importing the data into Qlikview. So as we progress, we will look more into how to import the data into Qlikview, how to create the Qlikview file, what is the data source, what are the different data source from which we can connect to Qlikview, and more details about the QEDs, how QEDs can be generated, and what is the purpose of it. So if you see, Qlikview is a wizard-driven application development environment, and it's fully integrated with the extract, transform, and load tools. It's more faster and more efficient than prepackaged OLAP business intelligence solutions that includes SSAS and many other Informatica kind of OLAP solutions. A powerful real-time analysis engine that allows for unconstrained drill down. So that the way the end user would like to view the data can be easily achieved through Qlikview. It is not just one or two views. There can be n number of views in which the end user or the top management would like to view the data to make good decisions about the business, timely decisions about the business, and for that Qlikview is a very, very powerful tool, and there are several concepts in Qlikview that would allow the business user or the management to work on the data sets created for them, to have different view of the data to take good decisions. And it is highly intuitive, easy to use user interface. As suggested, not for every change the end user has to go to the IT department or to a developer or an architect to make some slight changes or include new set of data to the maximum extent possible. It's more user friendly. User can make the changes or create his or her own view of data. So Gartner BI Magic Quadrant Leader, they generally provide inputs about which are the tools that are really doing good in the market in terms of business intelligence tool. The survey in 2011, 12, and 13 are what I've presented here on the screen, and you can see that Qlik, that which is highlighted in a blue circle, it was quite lower in 2011, and we had Microsoft and Oracle in the first position in the stack. And then in 2012, we have Qlik somewhere in the 4th or the 5th position, and in 2013, it's come up to the 3rd position. And here I present the 2014 Gartner Magic Quadrant for Business Intelligence and Analytics platform, where you can see that Tableau holds the first position, Qlikview holds the second position, and Microsoft holds the third position, and so on and so forth about the other business intelligence and analytical tools. So it's very clear that Qlikview is playing a major role in terms of data analytics and business analytics, and the improvement that the Qlikview usage in various countries have improved year on year starting from 2011. So which is a very positive sign for you to learn Qlikview and become a master in Qlikview over a period of time. That could help you improvise your exposure in the market and get very good job opportunities as well. So let's see why Qlikview differs from the traditional business intelligence tool. Qlikview, it easily consolidates multiple data sources. It is not just one data, so it isn't like you just directly connect to a Teradata or to SQL Server or Oracle, or it could be MS Office, or which Access or Excel, or whichever relational RDBMS or the databases talk about, where there are various data sources to which Qlikview can connect to, and the data that can load into memory at a time is really huge. It could be millions of rows, and there's a massive data compression ratio which has been provided. It's about 10:1. So the kind of information, the volume of data that can be loaded, saved in the Qlikview file is pretty much it's more, and it's easy to load and to extract from the Qlikview file compared to the traditional business intelligence way of uploading the data or transforming the data and presenting it to the end user. So it enables real-time associative search and analysis, because Qlikview is nothing but it is completely based on data, and the data that which is loaded into Qlikview, it should be associated. So when the data is associated, whatever is the component or the kind of object that we create in Qlikview, controls that are placed within a sheet object or each of the sheet objects added, each of it will have some sort of an association, which means any selection or any change made to one particular control will have an impact on the other controls. There are different ways to avoid having this kind of an association. We can have two different states of association for creating charts, two different grouping of information for which the changes can be seen or reflected. So that's something we will see later on as we proceed with the class. And it also supports SAP and Salesforce connections. So specific DLL selections are possible through the scripting editor in Qlikview to connect to SAP and Salesforce. Okay. So next we will move on to Qlikview's associative experience puts the users in control. So what does this actually mean? So now let us compare the traditional way of looking at the data and the associative way of looking at the data in Qlikview. So if you look at the traditional way, what we're trying to do here is it's a simple flowchart that starts from the region, and from the region it gets on and to the state level, and from the state different products, and then the salesperson involved selling each of the product. So it is IT driven, it's linear, it's a predefined thinking. The insights are quite missed in the hidden data, which is not handled while creating the cube or while selecting the dimensions or measures, and it takes months together to make changes, and it is more data centric. Whereas if you look at the associative model in Qlikview, it is more user driven. User decides where to start and where to end and how to move around the data. User can start from the region or from the salesperson, product or state, and can touch each of the other dimensions to read whatever is the required information, and can drill down to such an extent that they can get granular level of information as and when needed, and it just takes minutes to change, and it has great insight driven data information presented in an excellent way that the user, that the end user who doesn't even have a business intelligence knowledge can easily grasp or read what's being presented to him on the screen. Okay, so where is Qlikview actually used? We can use Qlikview. We can view the Qlikview documents on mobile. Qlikview is there on cloud. It's there on the desktop, on premise, and the installations can be done on laptop as well. So we would target more on Qlikview Professional. There are other products that Qlikview offers, namely Analyzer Plus, Qlikview Analyzer, and Qlikview Server, Qlikview Publisher, and Qlikview Access Point. So we would, as developers, companies would have expectations to work on the admin part of the Qlikview, the designer part of the Qlikview, and the developer part on, or the ETL or the scripting part. So we, in the Qlikview training that I would be handling for you all, I would target mainly on the designing part and the developer's role or the scripting part. Also, I would give you some basic idea about the Qlikview management console, which comes under the admin part of it, and some basic idea about Qlikview server, how the Qlikview server installation is done, and some details about the publisher, why it is used and what is the need for an access point, and so on. So where can you find Qlikview? Qlikview is available free of cost. You can directly download it from the website that I've given. Look into the Qlikview architecture, just an overview of it. So where is Qlikview used and who are the target audience? So the first section of this is the IT professional, when the Qlikview management console, which is also a part of Qlikview server, will be handled by the Qlikview admin engineer or the Qlikview admin person in a company. So Qlikview server, or in short we call it as the QES, it has an in-memory engine and client-server communication achieved. And Qlikview Publisher, we have data reload and document distribution features in it. So what we would target is about the Qlikview desktop or the Qlikview Professional, which can be directly installed on your desktop, and you can start working on it with the sample examples that we would be working throughout the training session, right? So next is the business user. So how can the business user view the Qlikview documents? Either they can view it as a QEW if uploaded onto the Qlikview management console and scheduled, automatic reloads will take place, and the end user can download the QEW files on their system and they can view it. Or there are also Qlikview publishers or the access point, where the Qlikview document will have a website look and feel, and that can be accessed through the company intranet or the extranet. So that will also work as a web page. So to look more into the platform overview, so what is that you're going to achieve in terms of learning the Qlikview Professional or the Qlikview developer? So you can either move into a Qlikview designing role or a Qlikview developer or script writer's role, wherein most of the companies would prefer you to do both Qlikview designing as well as the Qlikview scripting part of it, because the person who writes a script will also be responsible to create a design and will have a very clear idea about the data which he or she is uploading from various data sources, and what should be the way of creating a user-friendly interface for the end user to comfortably use it. So other than that, as I already told you, we have the reload, publish, and the distribute option, and for that the best applications that the Qlikview has created are Qlikview Publisher, Qlikview Server, and Qlikview Access Point. So we wouldn't talk in detail about these applications, because all the three applications except for Qlikview Server, few functionalities of Qlikview Server would come under the admin part of Qlikview. So next is the dashboard analysis and the reporting part of it. Qlikview can also be used through Ajax, Java. There's a plugin available. It can also be developed and deployed onto your iPhone, Android applications, and so on. So we wouldn't talk much about the Qlikview clients, because the Qlikview clients or the plugins or the Ajax features available are directly used on the various web applications to directly interact with Qlikview. So that's nothing much that we would talk about. So also Qlikview offers good security at a document level, sheet level, and at data level. That's through section access. So that we will look into, in detail while we progress through various topics during the classes. So let's see, what makes Qlikview different and why is it getting so popular day by day? Why are developers so keen in learning Qlikview? People those have been working with developers who have been working on SSAs and other related technologies are very keen about Qlikview and Tableau. So Qlikview in particular. So what makes it so unique and so popular in the market is something we'll have to understand. So Qlikview uses a patented technology called associative query logic, which is in short called as AQL. So this is the base, or this is the backbone of Qlikview. So let's see, first we'll have a look at the OLAP technology, which is an existing technology. So in OLAP, what we do, we create hypercubes. So we limit the users to a small number of dimensions. Measures have to be defined when the application is developed, and redefinition of a measure is also time consuming. The user interface is really complicated for non-IT people to understand. The non-IT people would just be given a training of how the application or the OLAP cubes developed can be used, but if they want to make a change to the dimension or measure that which is available in the cube to get a different view of the data, that is not possible to accomplish by themselves. They'll have to get back to the developer or to their IT department to make necessary changes to their cube to get a multi-dimensional view of the data that they would like to see. And no amount of RAM will change this fact of whatever the changes that's requested or implemented. So what's special about Qlikview? Qlikview's patented AQL technology, which is called as associative query logic, works in a different way. It builds and maintains a non-relational, associative, and high-space efficient database that resides in RAM. So what is so unique about the data residing in RAM? Of course, if the data is residing in RAM, the data access or data extraction speed is going to be much faster than the data being on hard disk, data residing on the hard disk and trying to extract from the hard disk. So that's the unique feature about associative query logic. Everything and anything is on RAM, and it's going to be faster than what you expect. The advantage of AQL architecture is that the source data is retained and immediately available offline for analysis all the way down to the source transaction. So the result is really powerful in terms of the analytical capabilities that the Qlikview can offer us, because data is associated and you can ask questions in any order. The application will be really glad to answer all your questions in a very fast and a quicker way. Okay, so let's see, why do we need Qlikview and what is the time utilization or the time complexity involved in using Qlikview in comparison to the traditional OLAP. So when it comes to the traditional OLAP, one time we do the ETL scripting, defining dimensions, measures, building reports and dashboards. But this one-time activity would take about 2 months. Whereas in the Qlikview, the entire ETL script, which are the tables to be imported from, which are the data sources, all of these can be decided and we can write the script within a day. It takes about 4 hours in the traditional OLAP to extract data and calculate the cubes, whereas in Qlikview, defining dimensions, measures, building reports, dashboards, and extracting data wouldn't take more than 1 hour, and it's done in a much more user-friendly manner than the kind of packaging and the deploying methodologies that we follow in the traditional OLAP. And how about the runtime? Of course, with the traditional OLAP, it's going to be done in seconds, and with Qlikview, it's going to be in seconds. So there isn't any major difference in terms of the runtime, except for the volume of data while you load the data into the application. So in the traditional OLAP tools or applications, the time required to load the data is much more than the Qlikview application, because Qlikview is based on the AQL. So as I already explained you, what are the features of AQL, and so we'll have to keep in mind that the data should be associated, and associative modeling or dimensional modeling should be done in such a way that unwanted looping between the data should be avoided, and it should be star schema, primarily a star schema. To some extent, it's always good to avoid the snowflake schema. So with star schema, it would be much more easier to have associated data to a fact table and or a link table, and extracting the data from various dimensions associated with the link table or the fact table. Okay, so now let us see the Qlikview in action. What the Qlikview is all about. So if you see here, we have three sections. One is the data warehouse that contains various dimensions and facts and the required information and the data. Next is the Qlikview file and the user interface. So this is the first level. Second level, just watch what is happening. Whatever is the information that's there in the data warehouse, we're directly pushing it onto the Qlikview file. And now the relational database sits inside the Qlikview document. So we don't need the data warehouse or we don't need the data warehouse throughout the application lifecycle. Once the information is loaded onto the Qlikview file, if the end user wants static information to be viewed on the Qlikview, very good, we just load it once. If a partial load or an incremental load is required for a fast changing data, then the information has to be put into the Qlikview file only once from various data sources on a daily basis or as per the schedule needed, and the refresh data can be viewed on the user interface. So if you see here, whenever a click is made, whenever a particular control is clicked, a query is executed, which is extremely fast and flexible, and it goes to the Qlikview file to retrieve the information needed. So the actual data communication, which is bidirectional, happens between the Qlikview file and the user interface, and we are not disturbing the data source on a regular basis, because the data extraction from various data sources would be more time consuming rather than extracting the required data which is in the Qlikview file and which is associated. So this is the key that makes the Qlikview easy to use and also fast than expected. So here you can see that any number of virtual queues, we would call it as a pivot table, diagrams, gauges, can be put in the Qlikview document, and whenever any sort of an action is performed on these hyperqueues or the controls placed within a sheet object, the actual querying process happens between the Qlikview data, that which is residing in the Qlikview file, and the user interface. So nowhere we're disturbing the data source to that. But you can also directly import the data from data source. If your data source is just one or two, it could be a direct flat file or an Excel file, and you think directly getting the information from the data source on a regular basis is what you want, you can also do that. You don't have to have a QED file for that. QED stands for Qlikview data file. So there are many other files like QES, that's for Qlikview scripting, and QEO, that's a Qlikview output, or the data format file, which can be directly viewed in Excel. Okay, so again, we're back to AQL. So as we discussed in slide 19, I would say that AQL is the patented technology of how to quickly evaluate the data when a click is made. So what we want when we click a button, we want the data to appear immediately. So whatever is the calculation that should happen in the background is taken care by the AQL technology of Qlikview, and the data interaction and the data extraction that happens from within the Qlikview file. So it's a 5-staged one. In the first stage, we have the data warehouse. Second stage, we're moving the required information to the Qlikview file, and in the third stage, we're creating the user interface, and any click performed on the user interface communicates with the Qlikview file, which holds the associated data. And again, different controls and kind of actions or activities that we can perform from the user interface on the Qlikview file. And finally, what is the magic that's making it happen? It's nothing but the AQL, patented technology that the Qlikview has implemented. Good. So this is the very first view of a Qlikview document. So if you see here, whatever is the information that you select in Qlikview turns green, and the associated data turns white, and the unassociated data remains gray. So it very clearly shows that in one of the lists. Okay, so let's look at a sample dashboard. This is a sample dashboard which comes along with the Qlikview application, when you can select this application to view the various functionalities that they've tried to achieve and the various features that they have used. So once you're through with this training program, you will know what are the controls, that they have used on the sheet object, and how can you design a very good user interface, something similar to what you're watching here on the screen. So here's the department type. So when I select finance or HR as one of the departments, you can see that the information on the other screens are also getting filtered. So this is what is referred to as the associative or the relationship between the data. So whatever you do in one of the screens, you can see that the other screen also the other objects relating to or associated to this particular control also gets selected. And also under in the current selections control, you can see that the object which the data which I have selected or the department type which I've selected would appear here in the current selection. There are many other features we will look into as and when we come across during the training program. Okay, here. This is a view, a sample view of the data, how the associations are automatically created in the data. If not automatically created, how do we achieve that through the script, and how easily the aggregations can be performed on the associative data. So here you can see that there is a link table, and there are many dimension tables that are connected to the link table through keys, and we also have single tables which are not connected to the link table or the fact table. This is your very first view of the Qlikview Professional or the Qlikview desktop application. So remember, a Qlikview file contains everything the user needs to perform meaningful data analysis, including the data itself and all the layout information, objects and sheets defined by the professional developer. So whatever you want to do with the Qlikview, you're going to do it in this application, and this is your very first view of the screen. So if you see here in the very first section, you have the example. So if you want to actually look at what Qlikview means and how a sample Qlikview application would look like, you can select any of the examples. There are about 5 to 6 examples that they've given here. You can look at any of these applications. Just try getting hands-on. Try clicking on a particular department type, or the sales type, or the customer name, whatever is available in these applications. So you will see that how selection of a particular information or data makes changes in the other controls. Okay, see here on the screen, I've shown you a few important objects that we would be working on a day-to-day basis while creating the Qlikview front end or the Qlikview user interface. So the most important thing is a sheet object. So if you're an Excel user, you will know what a sheet actually means. So each of these sheets can contain a pivot table. We can have a normal table, Excel table. It could be a row and a column based representation of data in Excel. So Qlikview is no different from Excel for your basic understanding. I would say that within a Qlikview document, you can have n number of sheet objects, and within each of these sheet objects, we can have a list box. There could be a table box, a multi-box, and you can also have pivot tables, charts. All these applications are primarily available for the end user to create simple to complex sheet view wherein you can navigate with the data that you have loaded, because we would load the data through script, but how do you present the data to the end user is what is most important, and that's why Qlikview is referred to as a data visualization tool. So it has excellent graphical representation to the end user, and learning the designing part of Qlikview would be much easier, if you have some basic knowledge about Excel, if you've worked on Excel features and some knowledge about Visual Basic programming, because most of the functions that which are used are quite common to the Visual Basic for applications in Excel. So if you know that, it's well and good. It's going to be much more easier. But otherwise, we will walk through each of these functionalities and different features that are available for you to present the data in Qlikview. Okay, now it's time to get hands-on with our Qlikview applications. If you see here, sheet is the basic. Sheet is everything. Sheet is something, that's the base of your document, and that's where, you're going to add controls and represent the data. So how are we going to add the Qlikview document? Here, once the Qlikview application is open, click on New. So here you will have a Getting Started wizard. So if you're looking at importing direct data from an Excel spreadsheet, you can very well do that. So here I have some sample Excel spreadsheet that's about our superstore sales information. So I would browse for the Excel file, and here you see the information that's extracted from the Excel file, and I would say use column headers from the data file imported. And next I'll have to save the application or the QEW. So you can choose your folder path, give a name to the QEW file, and save it. So I'll explain to you in detail what QEW file actually means and what is that the QEW file is going to have. So by default, we select a chart type next, and we need a dimension. So we can say region, and we would say sales, and just create. And here you go. Here's your first application available for you to view the data. What we've done here is we've selected the region and we have selected sum of sales. So there are ways to customize this. If you don't want to have the caption, you can very well do that. There are properties available wherein you can remove the caption, and you can also rename instead of sum of sales, you can have your specific customized label given to the chart, and I would call it as total sales. So here you go. Here's a change. So you have the title change, you have total sales, and the region that was just presented here. So you can move the object wherever you want, and you can resize the object. So there are many other features or many other properties available, not only with the chart object, but with many other objects which are available for you to develop your user interface. So we'll walk through each of these objects in detail and the properties available and how well we can use these. So again, we have a very quick way of selecting the dimension or the measure that you're looking for. So here I would like to select the customer name. So I would just select the customer name, and you see on the fly a list box is created for you. So there's a list box by default. So if you want to create a customized list box, you can do that as well. Just go right click on your sheet. So here's the sheet, main. You can add n number of sheets as per your requirement, and you can also rename your sheet. So just right click, go to sheet properties, and here you can rename your sheet to a dashboard. So next we can have this as expense management. Okay, so you can have a number of sheets as per your requirement. So as I just showed you, these are the various sheet objects that are available in Qlikview for you to create the user interface. So each of these sheet objects will have a different set of functionalities to not just import the data, but also you can perform user-specific calculations as per your business requirement. So as I just showed you how you can create a sample list box, that could be a default select field kind of an option, or you can also use a list box option to do that. So in the same manner, we have something to do with table box. What's a table box? So why am I presenting different list boxes here, and how a table box is generated with the data that which is uploaded. So these are all the kind of features that the Qlikview has to offer us, different controls, and how well we can use these controls. And once you get hands-on, it's going to be very easy for you and to use these controls and create not just one or two sheets. Once you get very good hands-on, say within a few days or weeks, it's all up to you, how it's the practice, that's it. So once you learn, how to use the controls, you'll have to try importing sample data and try getting hands-on with the navigation and how the data selection is made, how well the data can be presented. So that's something, you'll have to be innovative, and you'll have to put your minds together to think how well can you present the data to the business. Okay, so let's start with a quick demo of some advanced concepts in Qlikview. So I would like to cover 3 different concepts. One is called the alternate state, and the other is set analysis, and the third thing is variable and button navigation to hide or unhide the container objects. So let me create 2 different states. I'm going to call it as state A and state B. Done. So what I need now, I need 2 different charts. I want a bar chart. I'm going to create a calculated dimension. So I would say I'm going to have a label for this here. Next. So what's going to be my expression? That's going to be a measure. So I would say sales. I want the sum of sales. Let me give a label name to this. So here's my first chart. So next, I would require the years. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to create an expression for order date, and all I need is the year of the order date. And I don't need the caption for it. Here you go. So if you see here, you have the years. So when I select 2009, you'll just look at the data for the year 2009. 2010, you're going to look at that. 2011, you're going to have that information. Done. So first set is ready. So next, I would need another chart object. Wherein I'll have the region, and again I'm going to have sales, I don't need the caption. I want to remove the caption here. Done. So we have the second set of information when we're trying to represent the total sales for each of the region. And here on the first chart, we are I'm sorry, representing sales for the years. So we created two different states. When I select the information here in the first set of year, order date based year and total sales, you'd see that the changes are applicable to chart 1 and chart 2, both the charts. And same way, when I make some selection here in the second group, I can see that the changes are made in both the charts. I don't want this to happen because the data is associated, and that's the reason, whatever is the data that I select for years, that's getting reflected on both the charts. But what if I just want the list box that's displaying the years here to be applicable only to this particular chart, and the list box here that holds the year is applicable only to the region-based chart? So it's very simple. So already I've created two states. So go to the list box, and here under alternate states you have state A, select that, and again do the same thing on your chart as well. State A, and on this object select state B, and this is going to be state B again. So what does the state A and state B mean? So now it should be very clear for you, which means this is a group and this is again a separate group. So whatever is the information that I select here, it's not going to be visible here, and whatever I select here is not going to be visible on the sales versus year chart. So it's a very, very important feature for us, because not all the charts should show changes when you select particular information. It could be in a list box, or it could be any of the user controls that it used. So it's a very important feature, and also there's set analysis relating to the alternate state. So we will look into that in detail in the forthcoming classes. So the next feature that I wanted to show you is how to implement set analysis. So let's go to expressions, and here if I say I would like to view information only for two different states. So there are a number of ways we can customize this. We can select the regions and create a bookmark, and directly the end user can select select the bookmark created, and they can see the information only for those regions or those years or whatever is the user specific or business requirement. But there is a very, very interesting and very powerful feature of Qlikview that is referred to as set analysis. So in mathematics during our school days, we would have studied about set theory. So what is union, what is intersection, what is A minus B, what is A complement. So it is the same kind of set theory that which we would be applying as a part of the set analysis. So what is the syntax of set analysis? Starting with two flower braces, I would say one refers to the complete set of information, and dollar refers to a selected selection or currently selected information. So what do I need? I need where. So where, how do we say where? What is the condition? So the condition is always written within less than and a greater than sign. So I would say where region equals to, again I would have two braces, and I require a single quote, which is very much similar to the SQL syntax when we would write the text within a single quote. So West and Yukon are the two different regions for which I would like to view the total sales. So this particular expression, which is nothing but a set analysis. So what is a set analysis? What is the set? Region, within region, what am I looking for? I'm looking for West and Yukon, and what do I need? So apply this particular condition on the total sales, and I need this condition to be applied on the complete set of data. So I would use 1. So done. I've written the set analysis, and now you see what's happening. So you will only view information relating to two different regions, which is West and Yukon. So you can make necessary changes of whatever you want to, however you want to see the data. Right? So this was the second feature that I wanted to demonstrate. The third thing is how to use a container object. So what what are the benefits of using a container object. So let me take these two charts which I just created. One is for year and the other is for region. So here in the region chart, let me go and remove my set analysis because I would like to view the complete information required. So now you see that you have all the sales, total sales being represented for all the regions and for all the years. So we have two different objects, and also you can change the way you're viewing the information in the container through the container type change. So as of now, let me retain it as single object. And where do I want this tab? I want this tab somewhere on my left. So no other changes. I'm going to just leave it as is. Right. So let me have a copy of this chart here. So what am I going to do now is I'm going to have a button. I'm going to call it as hide, and I'm going to have another button. I'm going to name it as unhide. So let's see what we can do with variables. There's a feature called variables. So what's this variables all about? We can define variables, show chart. Okay, so initially I would set the value to 0. So now I have a variable defined. Here in the button which we have added, go to action, external, and set variable. So please select the variable that you've just created, which is nothing but show chart, and set the value to 0. Next, I would go to the container object, and here in the layout I have something called show, so which means when should this particular object be shown or when should it be hidden. So I would write a simple expression. I would say if this variable equals to 0, then it's going to be true, otherwise it's going to be false. That's it. So unhide, zero, unhide. So just see what's happening now. I can hide it and I can unhide the object as needed. So we can have same set of features implemented at a sheet level as well. So if you look at show sheet, so when do you want the sheet to be shown? So for example, let's take this. I would say if using the same variable equals 0, it's going to be a true. So it's Boolean basically. It's going to be true or false always. And the condition is set. So I say hide. You can now see that the sheet dashboard is hidden because it's completely based on a variable. And by clicking on this button, we are passing a different value, which is 1 or a false value, to the variable. So if you look at the variable overview, you can see that the variable value is changing. So when I click on unhide, you'll see that the sheet gets visible and the container object also gets visible. Go to the variable overview, you can see that the variable that which has been set through the button click gets reflected here. So the variable that which you create is global in nature, which means the scope of the variable or the visibility is available in all these sheets, and it can be used on any of the controls or the sheet objects that you've used. So a different set of variable again. Here is a quick example of variable that which is used from within the script editor. So one is a set and another is a let. So set basically sets a variable and let evaluates a variable. So that's the difference, and we will look into it in detail as and when we learn more about the scripting part of it. Right. Great. So these are some of the features that I had to present today. So I hope you find Qlikview very interesting, and I know I have given you some good information or basic overview about what is Qlikview and what is AQL, patented technology that the Qlikview is based on, and how quickly we can import the data, what are the various features of Qlik.